From the state of Kuwait lies an art gallery of a deceased artist, Khalifa Al-Qattan, God bless his soul, which was carried by his wife Lydia Al-Qattan. An art that does not resemble any other, with outstanding shattered glass pieces that tell stories and inspire thousands of people. Today, we present to you the House of Mirror Museum, located in Al-Qadsiya area. We will read the underlying hidden meanings of the mosaics while interviewing the artist, the one-of-a-kind, the producer behind the expressive mosaics, and also the author, Lydia Al-Qattan. Stay with us to get to know this phenomenal woman and her mosaics. Khalifa Al-Qattan is one of the pioneer figures of the art movement in Kuwait during the 1960s and 1970s. He was the first artist born in Kuwait to have a single artist exhibition in Kuwait held at the Najah School in 1953. During the same year, he left for the UK to study at Leicester College of Art and Technology, and he was the first Kuwaiti artist to exhibit his work outside of Kuwait, namely in Teatro di San Romano in Ferrara, Italy, and in the Egyptian Museum of Modern Art in Cairo, both in 1962. In 1968, Al-Qattan founded the Kuwaiti Formative Art Society and held position of chairman. In 1962, he became one of the first professional full-time Kuwaiti artists when he was appointed as a supervisor for the Free Atelier, which was established in 1960. Between 1962 and 1963, Al-Qattan started developing his own style, which he called Circulism, and for which his work became an iconic in the Arab art world. The art of the deceased Khalifa Al-Qattan is held by his wife, the artist and writer Lydia Al-Qattan. Lydia Al-Qattan owns a large collection of his work and has an archive of books, magazines, and newspaper articles, exhibition catalogs, and videotapes related to Khalifa Al-Qattan and his work. Lydia Al-Qattan also wrote the book Prophecy of Khalifa Al-Qattan, which contains Khalifa Al-Qattan's biography, an introduction to Circulism, and an analysis of collection of his work.
As you can see, his work is very, very philosophical, because it's very hard for you to understand it. But it's based on philosophy, and they call circulism, take from the cycle of life. And the work of Khalifa is very much dramatic. It is drama, his work is drama.
The House of Mirrors, or Mirror House, also known as the Khalifa and Lydia Al-Qattan's Art Museum, is the residence of the artist Lydia Al-Qattan, an intellectual and pioneer artist in her field. The creator of the Mirror House, Lydia, is an Italian-born artist and writer who moved to Kuwait when she married Khalifa Al-Qattan. She began her project single-handedly, transforming their home into a fantastic work of art in 1966. The project was worked on intermittently until its completion in 2006. The house can be recognized from far off due to the hundreds of mirrors mosaic designs decorating the entire facade of the building. The House of the Mirror is considered as the only house in the world covered entirely with mirror mosaics. The House of Mirrors is not just a traditional museum. Touring it is an entertaining, relaxing, and therapeutic experience. The house was decorated by El Gattan in different phases. According to Lydia El Gattan, the mosaic allowed her to make motifs out of the mirror pieces, which was not possible earlier.
It began on 72. When my daughter started to go to school and she wanted her own room. She was then 4-year-old, and because she's the only child, we wanted her to have a friend come to our place. So we converted the kitchen into a living room and the balcony into a kitchen. But after a little while, I started to see the writing on the wall. My daughter filled the room with writing, now she started to come out. When I tried to clean it, the whole thing came off. So I had a big patch of the original color. So I thought to have a wooden panel onto the wall and covered with mirror. The idea of covering with mirror, it came from another thing. In '66, it was the opening of the Kuwaiti embassy in Washington, D.C. And they asked my husband to make an exhibition there to show that we got culture. In the '60s, we definitely had culture, quality thing. So the time my husband was abroad, usually when he was coming back, he found something new. There was a cabinet. It looks a bit, I wanted to paint it. But I looked for any paint, I couldn't find anything in the house. I didn't know to drive at that time. But I had a big mirror, big piece of mirror that my daughter broke. So I broke it even more, and I assembled it and attached it. When my husband came back, he liked it. That made me very happy because I was scared he would be unhappy about it. That little thing I did gave me the idea to do the old wooden panel covering like that to become part of that. By the end of the '79, everything was finished. The room of my daughter, the corridor, the living room, and another room. But the trouble is, when I finished everything, I discovered I had termite eating behind the panel. So I had to take everything out and restart it again. But to restart again, I needed my husband to be out of the country, at least for the piece of that was damaged. And in '85, he had to make a conference in Baghdad. He was going to be away for 4 days. That was my ticket. As soon as I came back from the airport, I took a crew back. I didn't unscrew anything because too many screws, And I took the whole thing off. I discovered I had a big nest of termites. So I cleared the thing and I found 3 gaps. Not 1, but 3 gaps. So I put kerosene and then I covered the gaps with the putty, I make for sticking the mirror. It is a white cement, white glue, and water. That is pretty strong. When I covered the thing, the shape that came out gave me the idea to have the room, the key of the old ground floor project. And so I started to design seaweed and fish and things like that. On the 4th day, when my husband came back, everything was finished. Now, with my husband around, I had a smaller piece of wall to do. But that took me 15 days. Why? Because I had to do cooking, I had to do cleaning. Not only that, but the worst is when he was bringing some people in the house, and I'm in the middle making my job, doing my job, so I had to clean up myself and look after the guests. That was taking a lot of time away. The time it took me to do the little piece, I did the floor, the whole floor of the city room. When my husband was in Sharjah making an exhibition, when he came back, the floor was finished. By having done the floor and the lower wall, the termites are not able to get out. So I actually descend the house. By some places, you see, for instance, one of the rooms that was of my daughter, because she was coming back early from the States, I had to make it in 3 months. And also because I could close my door, any people come, I just can care less, just close everything. I leave put in this thing, so it's okay. And another room is the room of the universe, the same thing like that, because there is a door. Every people come to see the house, I just close the door, I see them, and they don't go inside the room. So also that I did it in 3 months. But the rest of the house, don't ask me. And when my husband died, Allah yarham, in 2003, it was his idea, actually his wish, to have the house into a museum. And so I had to build all around the house. Before, all around the house there were motifs, there were gazelles and horses and birds and things, the paint of the place, all around it. I lost all that, yes. Also, when the builder built one of the room, the old wall, outside wall, it fell. So I had a big jadaria before, a big thing. And so I had to build another one. So as they destroyed that one, I asked them to destroy the other one, the second one. So now there is another mural, not like before. Before it was completely different. One side was about the universe and God as the creator. The other side was about the house, or about, I had a baby camel and I had things, down there. So different completely now. The part of the house, well, now that became a museum, all the ground floor is all mosaic. You walk on the mirror, you eat on the mirror, you got all around by mirror mosaic, and each room is different. You got the planet Earth, and that's why you got a lot of Ayakorania all around it. Fila Makene local, the other place is just one. Depends on the position we are. And after you got the corridor of the nation, you got the room of the zodiac, and you got the room of the cone, what you call it, the universe. And that one is all about cosmology and sociology. That is the only room that I need to talk about it. The other room, it is about the library, and that is the only place I could not do alone. Why? Because you can see there was this kind of shelf from bottom to top. I could not possibly take them out. I needed two men to take it out. And so I had to wait for my husband to bring these 2 men. And he was always busy. Eventually, when he brought the 2 men, I had a lot of termites. One of my favorite books, 200 of them went. And this was about art and things like that. That was a real loss, because they don't make them anymore. And after you go up, there, of course, if you go the bathroom, that is inside the sea, and it's completely covered by with mirror. After there is this death of inspiration, I made all of mirror because once it was covered with the maquette, and once I nearly fell on my nose. So immediately I took the carpet away and I started to cover it with mirror. Because as the other thing is mirror, yeah. So now that's how you got it.
Inside the house, one can find various designs in the passageways while different rooms have different themes. The first stop on the tour of the house is the Zodiac Room. The room leads to a corridor decorated with sharks and other fish made of mirrors, followed by a decorated restroom covered with mirror mosaics. Then comes the Cosmology and Sociology Room, which is the only place where Lydia gives lectures in order to allow the visitors to relax along with the stars that glow in the dark when the lights are switched off, accompanied by relaxing music. She also has a library, which is her office from where she works, writes articles for the press and keeps some photo albums. The ceiling of the library room is decorated with verses of the Holy Quran. The elevator then takes you to the first floor, which is also decorated with motifs made from mirrors. The passageway of the first floor is decorated with paintings by her late husband, artist Khalifa Al-Qattan. A room contains all the awards and trophies he received during his lifetime, and some paintings of him by other artists presented to Lydia as memorial pieces. Another room has art pieces made from recycled materials, mainly water filters. One masterpiece after the other, one mosaic after another, one story after another. Approximately 100 tons of white cement and 75 tons of mirror have been used in the making of the mirror mosaics that spangle the outside and inside of this residential house. The exterior walls of the house are covered with murals of mirror mosaic, each design symbolizing a meaning. The interior ground floor is completely covered in mirror mosaic from floors to wall to ceilings, with each room carrying a theme such as the Planet Earth Hall, the Zodiac Hall, the Universe Hall, the Knowledge Hall, My World Hall, Corridor of the Nations, the Shark Basin, Sea World Hall, and Stairs to Inspiration. The project lasted approximately 3 weeks till the completion of her unique mirror artwork and the installation of iron side rails on the 24th of June 2016. Today, we high-pointed an icon in Kuwait, an interesting concept that is made all the more interesting by the person creating those creative mosaics. The mirror house is not just a house with some magnificent art forms, but it is a melting pot of arts, science and philosophy. Each piece of glass assembled not only certifies Lydia's love of arts, but also represents a variety of fields, meanings and beliefs, marking Kuwait as the first country to have such talented artists, Lydia and Khalifa al-Qattan.